19.
19, you say?
This is the 19th user webinar of
Yes.
BioCoherence.
Okay.
And today we have even more updates last week.
Okay, so
So everybody.
I imagine you all updated to 1.21. So what's your feedback about the causal chain? Do anybody have something to say about it?
I do. I mean, if nobody else wants to go, I have been using it. The causal chain, I like the connections because it helps me to, uh, well, it's helping me understand the connections, but it's and the different traditional, like Chinese medicine and even a lot of the atoms, which would be helpful uh, for like the heavy metals and stuff. So where it shows, it's going to show the metals in the liver, and part of my liver problem is the toxic metals. And I mean, I make a tincture, so I mean, I'm using it right now.
Okay, cool.
It just shows everything that, that I can, here's a problem. Maybe it's the spots on my skin, whatever, but biocoherence says, okay, here you've got this is it just shows me the links. That way
Mm.
it's easier for me to say, this is this is not medical advice. This is a supplement. If you use biocoherence and something to help your body get rid of the toxicity, which is, you can buy it over the counter. I mean, not what I make, but biocoherence shows that. And I think, that's going to be a big selling point because it'll, especially if I give them their first analysis, and the causal chain is really something that I can bring up on the screen and show them, and we can point to it. We can go to the shows where it ties in, and I can pop over to that screen, right? And say, okay, well, here's what the causal chain is showing us. Here's the effect and how the system's reading it,
I think
right?
it's a very interesting screen to start with a specific complaint, for instance, and to show
Yes.
connections around it, and to start with something very specific from your
Yeah,
client.
and pick the low hanging fruit. And then while they're at the session, I mean, I've been researching the MP3 players in America. They're like 25, $26 for the least
Mm.
expensive one.
I said we should have one branded BioCoherence, but it went under the list of things I had to do. So
I know that you're very busy. I'm trying to help, at the very
no, no,
least.
no, it's fine. Any MP3 player could work, but if we could have some nice little MP3 players with BioCoherence on it, it would be great. Mm.
So I want to say that one of my clients has three young children and has been using the frequencies, taking a glass of water and putting them
Yeah.
the ear, whatever, the ear thing.
Earbuds.
Thank
Mhm.
you. Around the glasses and allowing the kids to just drink it because her oldest one is so sensitive to sound that he can't listen to it, but
Mhm.
that allowing it to go into the glass of water has worked very well. So I just wanted
Wow.
to give
Mm.
another way of doing it.
Okay, interesting.
Great.
I
Thanks.
think I think any kind of frequency next to the water is important. I have a sound bed where speakers all around you and all through the bottom of it. And I've been doing this for like 15 years or something, where I take a voice analysis and I'm broadcasting then frequencies that I can analyze in their voice and then put it into the sound bed. And I always recommend that they bring a gallon of water, so anything that I'm giving them personally goes into the water, and it's like a homeopathic then to be able to do it. So now what I'm going to do is try to take the biocoherence frequencies and be able to do that. So if I have a session where I do have someone in the sound bed, I can compare the voice analysis prints with the biocoherence, and then I can share that stuff with you.
Mhm. Okay, great. Mm.
So good stuff with the water.
Yeah, it's great. So you can just actually play it through the earbuds from the MP3 player beside the water. And
Yeah, it
that's
should
an
work. You
oh,
take any headphones and you just put it on a glass
Yeah. Okay.
It should work. And if the headphones is close to the glass, it's also good because you have the magnetic field of the
Yeah.
speakers. So
Okay.
it's
Cool.
even better. Mm.
Very good.
I
Yeah.
wonder I wonder if we could create a plate, kind of like this person, their CERN, is that his name? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, but with the yin and the yang, something like that, that they could put on it along with some earbuds to like generate it, like a magnets or whatever. Just
Yeah.
an idea.
Yeah. Okay. Mm. Anyway,
You
Yeah,
know,
I have a
any kind of transducers should work. Yes. Mm.
yeah, and getting into well, you missed it at first. We were all like flashing our crystals here at the beginning, Medrick, but I'm finding
There we go.
I have a glass table. I love it.
Yeah. Very good.
Show it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'd just be another thing that we could sell along with it.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
like a water thing. Or I have a glass table here that I put my speaker just on the table, and then I'm going back to the crystals. I put my rocks on it too, so then I can move my rocks into different grids after playing like frequencies, to help charge my crystals. So crystals work the same as the water. So really, like with this biocoherence stuff, and I mean that's some nice crystal programming to run these frequencies through. I think I was just talking with Steven about this, and we are getting really excited because really the ways to apply the biocoherence specifics on the frequencies and everything is, I mean, we're just touching it. We're just touching it. I got this kid so excited for these parties. I've never seen this kid so excited yesterday, who thinks he's gonna go, change techno, and
That's something I'd love to see. I would
yeah.
love to
And we can talk more off the record here.
Yeah.
But guys, I can't wait to see what you will invent with it because for a long time I was just alone on my computer and my mathematical equations and just thinking I was just straight crazy.
Oh man.
And now I see that I'm not the only one crazy, so it's fine. Thanks.
You're brilliant. You're brilliant. Thank you for believing in yourself.
Yeah,
Yes,
if there's
thank you for believing in us.
I can say too, it takes some like clicking around and finding them, but those ones that you get the bass where it just like, I don't know how to find those. You just kind of get lucky because when they come up, you kind of got to mark them or something. But if there was like a bass one that's just all, you know what I mean? It's like you never know which ones are high or low. You know what I mean?
Maybe I should
Well,
have
couldn't you-
I should add a way to search them.
Yeah, or if there's like a low frequency for bass lovers or something like that.
Yeah.
Like this guy is like, he was so excited to plug them in, waiting for the bass ones on his speaker set. He's like, I got the best speaker set up in town, and I'm sitting there, and then we're waiting for it to drop.
Well,
So he's like,
when
I
you
can't wait
look
to
in
take
the
these to festivals or whatever. So he's,
Okay.
when you look in the Elfi frequencies, right? If you go to the Elfi chart and it gives you the frequency, I mean, you have to know what it is, but in that line where it gives you the length and the cycle and stuff, isn't it listed in the Elfi charts? I've got the program.
Yes, but all the frequencies that we use in biocoherence are not pure Elphic frequency because these frequencies are organ or meridian points or things like that are specific resonance frequencies. So it's a lot of very specific frequencies that are not all in the Elphi chart. Yeah, but yes, TJ, at some point maybe we should make a search engine for the frequencies. Anyway, sometimes I'm also bunking my head about the frequencies because we have close to 3,000 frequency programs now.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have to enhance a little bit the search engine. Right
It's
now we only
wonderful to
have
see how-
categories on keywords and it's not a lot. Especially because I will probably add a few thousands more. So at
Yeah.
some point we will have to change.
These kids were feeling it though. They're just like, oh my gosh, I can feel it. And these are like techno kids, you know, and it's like I think it gets sloppy there, but like to see it how specific, like where the science comes in. I
No,
mean,
but you know, it's very interesting because techno is a very physical music. You know, it's like an old civilization ritual music where you feel the music through your whole body. And so when you are really into techno, you are really into feeling the music in your body. So I'm not really surprised that they feel the frequencies the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's
Yeah,
not an
it's blown
intellectual
away.
music. It's really a physical music.
Yeah. And
Interesting.
we can't wait to see if you know like the speaker humpers they call them.
The what?
Here it's like there's different names for them, but there's always the people at the party that get stuck right into the speaker.
Yeah.
When they're dancing. We call it the speaker humpers.
Yes, but their ears are dead.
I used to have a girlfriend like that. It's like we'd go to a party, and no matter what, she would just like gravitate towards the speaker, and I didn't like to stand in front of them. It was like every time, it's just like you're a magnet, but you feel it going. You know, it's all right. So that's fun. I can't wait to see what they do about it.
Okay, so yes, at one point I think we will enhance the frequency search and maybe the visualization too, because like the thematics and something like that. I was curious to see if I could see some cymatics simulation to integrate directly into the app, but that's again something that is on my to-do list.
Yeah, I think that would be incredible. So
yeah, I know everybody wants cymatics, but I don't find the time to do
it. Yeah, I'll raise my hand for that one. I know you've got a million things on your agenda, but I'm going to manually do it myself. There's a lady that I listen to. If anyone knows the channel, YouTube channel, Alchemical Science. This lady basically has she can basically turn any frequency into a shape. And like my cousin's a sound engineer, so he set it up on his computer, but I need to set up on mine. So I'll be able to basically give a sacred geometry or just a geometry. So one of the most beautiful things that she shows on her YouTube channel is like what the 440 frequency looks like, and it is pure chaos. And then the 432 is like literally the seed of life. It's just it's just mind blowing. So yeah, like I said, I'll do the manual version myself until you get ready and you upload it upload it on the website.
Okay, great.
So what's the plan for today?
Yeah.
What's the plan for today? Is it to step through what has been released in 121 or to talk through the questionnaires?
121 is mainly the causal chain. I sent the update email finally this morning, so you have the detail in it. No, I can show you a little bit of the next version if you want. So the main focus for the next version would be questionnaires. Yeah. The idea behind questionnaires is that, I already said it, I want to validate as much scientifically as possible what happens in the app. So in questionnaires, I started implementing some official medical questionnaires that people can fill online. So you can fill it for them, or preferably they would fill it directly by self-assessment. Oh, sorry, I'm still in French. Okay, questionnaires. So, for instance, if you have the SF36, the process would be for users that they can just get all the different questions and fill them directly here, and so on and so on. And at the end, you will be able to see the results like that. So you can, this one, for instance, is the PSQI, which is the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index. where you have a dozen of questions and you get some markers. And if you go into each of one, you can see the question and the evaluation. But if you answer several times, you will see it as on a medical study with like initial evaluation and follow-up evaluation and maybe several evaluations and so on. So you can actually track these different markers and see the evolution, which is quite useful if you want to get actionable information, okay? One of the other ones that I installed is the MASS, Mindful Attention Awareness Scale, which is related to mindfulness. So more for people wanting to improve on the meditation scale. We have the Big Five. So if you want to take the Big Five, it's a short Big Five in 20 questions. And you get your Big Five profile, but you can also see, so take an evaluation at the beginning and take another one at the end and see how you evolved during your 21 days program. And you as a practitioner, if one of this one is of interest for you, you can just ask the customer by just clicking here. If I enlarge a little bit, yes, okay. And you see there is a little green check here. So I can ask in the PANAS, for instance. So I will ask it. So next time my customer will launch his app, he will be prompted to fill these questionnaires. And you will get the answers directly into your interface, of course. Questionnaires, you see, is a new area into one specific recording. So questionnaires are mainly tied to one recording, but you will be able to find them into the user account. So probably here with a new tab, which would be named questionnaires. But right now, it's only into one specific record. The idea is that when you start one record, you will be prompted with one specific questionnaire. So can I show you that? Oh, maybe yes. Okay, so if I work on myself, let's say I'm doing a new measure. And let's say I'm finding, okay, it's 70. Okay, that demo, sorry, I have to charge them. So anyway, I will explain. When you start a recording, you do your 2-minute recording, for instance. In the next version, you will have some new advices. So the first one is that if you stop the recording when it's too short, it will just prompt you to continue, because it doesn't really make sense to have a too short recording. So if the recording is too short, there will be a new overlay on the screen that says your recording is too short, do you want to continue? You can skip it if you want, but you are strongly encouraged to do at least the 2 minutes of recording. If you go at the end of the 2 minutes, you will be prompted to give a main theme for what you want to do in the coming month, to name the recording, and in fact, you are prompted to set it as a goal. So what is your goal for the coming 21 days? And according to the main category of what you decide, you will be prompted for one of these questionnaires. So if you say physical pain, or if you say emotional problems, or if you say stress, each time for each of these categories, we have assigned a different questionnaire. And so you will be immediately prompted to do an initial assessment of it. And in fact, this is while the recording is processing in the background. So instead of waiting for 1 minute for the processing to load, we will use this minute to ask a few questions and get an initial evaluation. So this initial evaluation will be accessible by you if you are the therapist, or will be also used to tweak the resources and priorities according to certain answers and certain things that could appear into this initial questionnaire. So the questionnaires have really different usages. One is to adjust the priorities according to the answers. Another one is to get the initial assessments, and the questionnaire is asked after the 21-day again, and it says, okay, well done, you have finished your 21-day program. So now we will ask you again the questions, and we can compare between the first one and the last one, the evolution on these scales. So the second usage is to assess an objective evolution of what did indeed happen in these 21 days. And the third one is that we can then leverage this to do some field studies and to get some real efficacy, maybe figures of the therapies, because we can then tie the questionnaire results to the age of the people, to the type of biomarkers that we used, and so on. And so when we have sufficient questionnaire answers, we can start saying that we can prove, for instance, that this therapy increase 35% this official biomarker or this official questionnaire result. So this is something that we can then officially publish in the medical literature, which is, I think, a very good step towards being able to use biocoherence in more settings. Which leads me to show you another thing. When you choose a contact now, there is a brand new setting here. When you go to more infos, until now you only had the birth date, but now we have added height and weight. And for you Americans, it's not only in centimeters, okay? So you have it in feet in each. It doesn't make sense, but that's your problem, not mine. And and for the weight in pounds or kilograms. Okay. This is not yet leveraged. It's just for your memory, but it will be used in the not so distant future when we start having norms for every biomarker, because for some biomarkers, the norms might be tied to, for instance, the body mass index or things like that. We know there are some very well-known ties between HRV and age, or HRV and BMI. And I plan to uncover the same, but for no less than 1,400 biomarkers, which would be really interesting, because we could probably get some new age and health indicators with that. So you can start populating the height and weight for your clients as soon as you have 1.22, and it will be useful in the future. And it's also an information that could, for instance, be sent to the AI, so that they can also compare your results with your age, height, and weight, and refine their answers. So I think it's an interesting thing to have on your client data. What else was the questionnaires? There are some recompute improvements. Yes, there is some new HRV data in stats. So if you go to stats, sorry. Okay, until 1.21, when you click on biomarker, it will launch the complete recompute of the system, which is no longer the case. So when you open it now, this is not displayed. But if you open it, at this point, the rebuilding will take place, okay? So we are delaying the rebuilding as late as possible, because you don't need it usually, except for certain screens. So if you need it, you will have to now wait for a few seconds before you have everything, okay? So in stats, we have added some information. No, it has to wait to be computed. Oh. I need it.
Rick, if you wanted to, I could show
So
you my
here you have some new information, which are the norms for the bits per minute. So this is the mean, minimum, maximum, the HRV, the stress index, adaptation level, and so on. So these are more technical information, but this is a technical information that we already gave to the Heart AI. So it was computed, so it was logical to put it here. Also one detail, but this is especially for Dr. Johnny. In settings, you can go to interface font and you can put everything in Times New Roman if you want. Are you happy, Dr. Johnny? So you can have everything in Times or in Arial or in Verdana. So if you prefer to have more standard font for the whole interface, you can do that. And I think that's all I wanted to show you for today. The main thing is the questionnaires. We are in the process of having them in all languages. But I think it will be a very interesting addition to the app. Yes, Stephen?
Would you like me to share my screen to actually show the end of the scan process with the questionnaires? I've got most of it
Okay.
here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
So is this just in I have version 127.8 or 7. This isn't in that particular version?
What is your version? What is your version, Dan? You don't have, you are muted. You are muted, Dan. We don't hear you.
121.7.
Yes, this is the latest official. And what I'm showing you is in 122.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so if you stop here.
Here. Okay.
If you stop here, and you click on stop.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So this says your recording is too short. Continue. Okay. So you should definitely you can dismiss, but you should continue, of course.
Very good. That's good.
So at that point, you will continue. And then you probably don't have the very latest version with more questionnaires, but the principle is the same.
Okay.
So the cut is at 50. You are at more than 50. So you can stop here, even if it's too short. Okay.
Fantastic.
And so you see, you will be asked, in the latest version, it's 6 main categories. So what is the main focus of this measure? You can click on anyone.
Okay, so let's just say physical pain.
Yeah, okay. So this will give the name to the record instead of having just the date. You will be directly prompted to define a goal. You can describe it, but okay, if you don't, it's not a problem. And then if you continue, okay. And then you are prompted to start the questionnaire. And during that,
there you go.
the analysis is computing in the background anyway. And so this one is the SF36.
I'm just going to pick on random answers.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. Anyway, you don't have the results after the first one, but in the release version of the 1.22, it will actually change a little bit your priorities on resources according to what is computed at the end of the questionnaire. And again, all the questionnaires that are here are official medical questionnaires, so it is using scales and questions that are used since many years in the official medical studies.
Fantastic.
And now you can, of course, browse your results.
Very much.
Okay, so it's a little bit short, so you don't have a lot of priorities.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Exactly.
Yes, now as you can click on the SF36 if you want. And now you will see your results. And if you scroll a little bit down, yes. So these are the official SF36 results. But if you click on anyone, go down. Yes, if you click on anyone, you will see the detail. And if you have several answers, so initial, follow-up, and so on, you will see all the different answers here, and you will see the comparison of the answers on the graph.
Very good. Fantastic. And then when I answer the questions, it will then go to update the priorities then. So it's basically a combination of the scan and the questions combined together.
Yes, yes, it should. This part is not yet active, but it should somehow modify some priorities.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
It will be complicated to see how, well, for each of these studies, we compute a score with a 3 code letter. And this score is between 0 and 100%. And I will use this score to eventually change some numbers of priorities or some priorities orders or things like that, or maybe put more priorities into a certain category or things like that. Okay, that's it for me.
Question and answers.
Yes, if you have any questions.
I've got a question.
Yes, please.
So, you know, if you're a pro and you have different clients, so any level of client can, you know, participate in this if you bring on their record and give them the questionnaire?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So a user can get the questionnaire from their pro doctor or whatever. Is that how it works?
In fact, there is no real tool on the market for medical doctors to make studies remotely like that. With this system, you can have a pro account and you can invite anybody to fill answers. Okay. And you, on the other side, this is not answering the questionnaires does not require a subscription. You know, so okay. you can just download the app, log in with the email that your doctor has registered to you, and start answering the questionnaires. And your doctor will immediately get the answers on the report.
So any level can do the questionnaire?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the idea is that if everybody that takes the measurements does the questionnaire and then the 21-day and then the follow-up questionnaire, we will soon have a lot of a treasure of data to validate. If we can prove that we have evolutions on certain SF36 dimensions, for instance, it's an open road for peer-reviewed publication, you know. So that we can say that we have actionable data and we have proof that our system works.
Yep. Yep. Excellent.
Yeah.
I was going to suggest that if everybody couldn't do it, I said, well, if you have more people do it, then we have more data.
Exactly.
And more proof.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Incredible.
And what is enticing for users to spend a few minutes to answer to the questionnaires is that it will actually have an effect on their priorities. So it's another level of integrating information for the user. And it's also possible that it will be sent to the AI helpers. So if you fill the SF36 and then you talk to an AI helper and he has your SF36 results, it can be even more accurate in his answers, you know. So it's still another way to cross-reference all the data that you can have on your case and get the maximum help on it.
Well, that's excellent because it seems like the program would actually evolve into a higher healing mode.
Yes.
For the client.
Exactly.
Thank you.
That's my ideas. I still have a lot of ideas, but implementing them one at a time.
Thank you, Patrick.
Actually, while we're here, Dr. Johnny, would you mind to share the testimonial with the group from your user yesterday? Because the one yesterday was a closed group. So if you wouldn't mind to share the success with your
Oh,
patient,
sure.
please.
Oh, yeah. She's a wonderful person, 77 years young, and her name, she's in Wisconsin. And let's see, let me pull up her email here. But yeah, she just, I said, well, this is, new and everything. No, I want to do it. And, if you say, help me, and she has shakes, like in order to eat, she has to hold her right hand to eat, to bring her fork up to her mouth. And so this particular, so just, let's see, she got the scanner, it was like Friday or Saturday of last week. Well, almost a week. She's had it about a week. And so I'll pull it up right here. Let me see. Francine. Okay, here we go. Francine. So she finally got the download and started scanning. And I want to read it, so I want to pull up the actual email. Here we go. Dr. Johnny, on Tuesday, February 11th, I took a new measurement and did 4 sessions. There was a significant healing in one of my ailments, a pulled muscle in my left thigh. I could receive healing that quickly for something I could easily feel. It is amazing to think the healing going on that fast, and I cannot sense or feel the healing going on, and now the pain's gone. This is an amazing tool. Thank you for presenting this to your patients. So that's her exact email. I'll copy the exact wording in the chat. I'll put it that way. So
it's great.
Yeah,
so the shaking is better, she's telling me. And so, but, when she's shaking that bad, when she says it's better, so there is a progression in that recovery too.
Dr. John, how long has she been shaking?
Oh, she's been a patient of mine a long time, and I've helped so many other things that were going on with her, but the shaking kept progressing, and that's been about at least 10 years, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. Now she sees a reduction in the amount of agitation in her shakes. In other words, she's telling me she still shakes, but she can eat now with one hand, which is a big step.
Yeah. Okay, keep us posted. Keep us informed. Because if this happens after just a few days, that's very interesting.
Yeah. And she's just learning the program and everything, so, but she's doing it. And
yeah, it's great.
Would these be considered Parkinson's symptoms?
Well, I mean, you can call it Parkinson's, you can call it, there's so many different names for things like that, but it's, 77 years young, these things are progressing more and more and more. And for BioCoherence to start reversing that, just based on sound, I've helped her with so many other things, but I couldn't stop the shaking. I mean, I said, unless you come down to Mexico and get stem cells with me, I can't stop the shaking. But she couldn't do that because that was too much of an effort. But I take people down 2 or 3 times a year to get stem cells to get rid of dementia and to get rid of the Parkinson's, to get rid of, with shoulders or knees that are bothering you. And those repair quicker with stem cells, of course. But, it's cheaper with me to get stem cells than anywhere else in the world. But still, that's bigger money, and she couldn't afford that. She couldn't make the trip. So I have to do what my patients can do in order for them to get to the right or best healing target with what they can do. And so we have to choose our battles, you know, based on economy, based on convenience, or something like that. But just with this, I said, well, you can afford this, you know. You can get the sensor, you can get the, you know, and she's got an Apple, and she had headphones, and so I said it works best with headphones. So she did all those things, and for her, this was like a miracle, because you know, she couldn't get these other therapies that I offered that were too out of reach.
My mom, who's 87, said that when I said, please use your headphones, she can definitely tell a difference between when she was just listening to them on her computer and now this. She's sleeping better. She has restless leg syndrome, which, is there anything for that, Medrick, for restless leg? I haven't been able to find anything. Unless it just comes up
Not
with...
specifically, but I think it's more of a systemic problem. I don't think it's a specific condition. I think it's really a systemic problem.
Okay. So it'll show up like and settle down the more that she does them.
In the nervous system, but okay, I'm not a medical doctor, but I don't think there is a specific disease linked to that. I think it's just an effect of something more systemic.
Right. It's just hard when people come to you and they're like, I have restless leg syndrome and I don't know what to do. And I'm going,
sure.
the doctor going, well, let's
maybe,
just try.
Maybe that's maybe a good way would be to start from the causal chain and from the lower nervous nodes from the vertebrae, you know, and see everything that would be related, even in the emotions and the drives and so on.
Exactly.
And when you say she's doing headphones, is it with the personal guide, so with the meditations, or just the harmonic boosts?
She does not have the app yet, and she has I don't even know, like a PC, I guess. And she has a flip phone. She's 87.
I mean, with the headphones.
Her to use headphones was difficult enough. Medrick, you have to understand she's like old school. So
my question is, with the headphones, does she only do the harmonic boost?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it's a neurological condition. So it's based on the communication of the mind to the different, you know, whether it's the shaking or whether it's, you know, Lou Gehrig's disease or all these things. It's all based where the mind's, you know, not making the connections through the septic nerve. And one thing I want to point out that nobody's talking about or mentioned, iPhone headphones like this actually give off radiation, okay? I find it best to use like these kind of headphones that just give off audio. That's all.
I speak on that all the time, so just not to say nobody, but I'm a big advocator of that. And especially with my children, especially in sacred geometry, if you're plugging like a hole that's a geometric fractal and you're going to stick something in there. So go ahead, but don't say nobody when I've been advocating that for 20 years. I'm just saying, like, people know.
I measure everything, and these put out radiation, and the BioCoherence works better if you use just sound headphones.
Yeah.
How do you just sound headphones? Do they just have to be plugged in?
It must be plugged in, not Bluetooth.
Yeah, they plug into your USB.
Yeah.
And if this could go into my question here too, I think Jeff would like to address this, but this came up yesterday. If Medrick, you could speak on some of the technical frequency stuff, because as I'm understanding, if we do a reading on somebody and then export the MP3, that's still good and that still works, but if they're using the app, they're getting the wave file. So am I understanding that correctly? And you're stacking like the frequencies in the wave? Because the techno guy was asking and how they put stuff into their. It's a little bit over my head, but I think Jeff has that same thing, the difference between an MP3 and the WAV file. And
Okay, so when you are in the when you play from the app, it's neither an MP3 nor a WAV. It's just directly playing. So the sound is generated live. That's why it's still choppy on your device sometimes. Because for the harmonic boost, it's still entirely generated live. For that, I have integrated some synthesizers, in fact, that does the sound in live. So there is no intermediate file. When you export the harmonic boost as an MP3, what happens technically is that the synthesizers are rendered into an intermediate wave file. So there is a wave file that is created at this time that you can access if you click on stop encoding. So when you are exporting the MP3 from the harmonic boost, if you click on stop encoding after the first half, it will allow you to save the wave file. But in my test, there is no meaningful difference when you hear the wave or when you hear the MP3. And this is for a specific reason, is that the MP3 compression, okay, I will try not to be too technical, but the MP3 compression works by masking frequencies that are not audible in a specific music. And we are doing pure frequencies, which means that no frequency is masked because there are not a lot of frequencies into the file at the same time. So in my tests, hearing the raw wave file or hearing the MP3 file was absolutely the same. So I would not suggest to save the wave file, which is 10 to 20 times more heavy. And I would say that the MP3 is correct enough to deliver the frequencies. The other thing that you have is when you export the MP3 file, you have a shorter play duration than if you play from the app. And this is because if I try to export a 1 hour wave file, it crashes the app because it takes too much resources. So you can export a longer file on a computer than on a phone, for instance. But in any way, if you play from the app, you can play for 1 hour with different frequencies. And if you export the MP3 file, it will be 10 to 20 minutes. So it's the same frequencies, but it's just playing a shorter amount of time. But you can also play it in cycle and you will get the effect.
Yeah. So is there an advantage? Well, what I'm saying as far as like what I'm telling people as far as like vortexing and my experiences through things, that the changes is really where you're getting most energy rather than straight frequencies.
You
So
mean
it seems like even on a shorter file, playing like the shorter one 3 times may be better than playing 1 30-minute through.
Anyway, the changes are every 6.73 seconds. There is a change in. So if you play, for instance, one meridian for 1 minute, and this meridian has 20 frequencies, for instance, these 20 frequencies will be played 4 by 4 and changed every 6.7 seconds to redynamize the system so that your system gets resonant frequencies that are matched to the meridian, but it will be relaunched every 6.7 seconds so that you get a more dynamic effect.
I got you.
If you do the export of MP3 and you have a lot of different programs, this particular meridian will be reduced, for instance, from 1 minute to 20 seconds. Okay, so instead of playing 10 times with 10 boosts, it will play, for instance, 3 or 4 times with only 3 or 4 boosts, and then it will go to the next program. But if you play it in loop, you will get the same meridian several times. So at the end, it will be the same kind of effect, you know?
Yeah. And then what I'm asking too then is there an advantage of getting the frequencies off of the app rather than being exported onto the MP3?
It's longer, so you can play the actual duration.
But I mean, functionally, is there like this?
Functionally,
is what they're asking. The sound nerd tech guys, they're saying,
Yes.
are they getting a better file if they're playing? You know, if they were to like put it through a speaker to get their maximum.
Okay, I believe if you play it from the app, it's like it's straight from the musical instrument. Whereas if you play the MP3, it's like it's recorded. But I don't think the audio quality would be noticeably different. What you can get if you play from the app is that you can switch on demand by just clicking on different parts. So maybe they would like that because it becomes more of an interactive tool, you know? So if they prepare some elements with frequencies that they love, they can just switch from one to another when they want, which could be also interesting.
So if you're using the app or an MP3, in both cases, it's still digital,
Yeah.
right? So it's still digital. So digital always clips, you know, it doesn't make it a square wave, can be, but digital always clips. So you have a peak, there's no fall off. So, you know, like Bedrick
there is,
was
in
saying,
fact, because it's not square waves, so it's cine waves. But in any case, when we export the MP3, we render what the synthesizer would do in real time, just on a shorter time frame. So the signal is the same, more or less. It's the same if you record an instrument in a synthesizer like Logic and you export the file at the end. You will get the same as if you just play the file live from your recording. But again, when you play it from the app, you have all the options to jump from one to another or to use the filters on top. So it's more interactive. Anyone has another question?
I have a question, like if I have a client who comes to me with a specific problem, can I type that problem in
Yes.
and have the harmonic program to give them an MP3 then?
Yes. If you come with a specific problem, what I would suggest is you start with a scan. So
Right.
anyway, you do the scan and you get a first set of automatic priorities. And maybe the specific problem is inside, maybe not. If it's inside, fine, everybody is happy. If it's not inside, usually you say, oh, why is the problem not inside? Because I'm coming for that. And the answer is that because it's not the way to open the box today, you know. Maybe there are other doors that are more interesting for this particular case. And maybe the problem should be addressed in a circular way, you know. Maybe there are other more important things to address first, and then the problem will come up later. But if you really want, because this is a new customer and it doesn't know you and it doesn't have maybe a trust in what you do and so on. So if you really need to address a specific condition, which is, I think, something very valid to do, you can use the causal chain, which is exactly made for that. If you go into the causal chain, you can search for a specific biomarker and put it in the center and see everything that is related to it. Whereas it is, be it in the same category or other categories. Did you already play a little bit with the causal chain?
I'm just getting used to getting into it. And what I was noticing, I did 3 days in a row, and I've had a torn meniscus in my knee, and I put essential oils on it, and I broke out in a rash. And I thought, well, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes to come up with my knee problem. And last night it addressed all that, where earlier in the other days it was more addressing other things, the kidney, the liver, and other stuff, which I figured those were where the priorities. So I went to the harmonizing part, but now I can see what yeah. Okay, so
you here you have a selector where you can just search by keyword. Okay, so you can take any one of the 1,400 biomarkers and put it in the center. And on the bottom, you will see all the links that have common resonant frequencies with the knee. So you can filter here, so you can see the best helpers, which are all the items that are mostly related to the knee, and so you can see everything that could help somehow.
Okay, and then how do I activate those to play the frequency?
You add them to your priorities by just clicking on the little plus here.
Okay.
Okay, so you click on the plus for this one, and for instance, you want to add the thymus. You click on it, it will put it in the center. You click on the plus, and you go back.
Perfect.
Okay, and you explore everything that is related to it. But you see, you are talking about an organ, and we are in the organs. But maybe you want to go into drives and see what emotions are related to the knee. And maybe some of the emotions could help. Or maybe you can go to the TCM points and see among 420 TCM points, which are the ones that could actually help the knee, you know?
Awesome.
And by with all that, you could build a custom priority list, which would be centered around this specific condition and this specific problems that you want to address, and everything that is related. And you can go several levels deep. So let's say you say, okay, I'm very interested in GB38 because I don't know. So you click on it and you get some information, and you read that, and you say that maybe it can help to channel heat and so on and so on. Okay, let's say you read that and you say, that's very interesting for my knee. Let's add it.
Perfect.
And then you say, maybe it's interesting to go one level deeper and to see what can help this particular acupuncture point that will help my knee. And you go, for instance, into drives, and you will see what the emotions can do to help this particular acupuncture point that will help your knee. And in this way, you can go in both the dimensions. You can see everything that could directly relate to your knee in all the different categories, but you can also go further and see what can help the helpers.
This is helping a lot because a lot of this was coming up in the harmonizer when I was seeing the scales of everything when I was running the audio last night. I was going, well, this is really interesting because I just saw all those things. So it was identifying all that stuff.
Yeah.
But now you explained how it got there. So that helps me a lot because now I can go back and be more specific and go deeper. That's perfect. That's really good.
But in fact, the automatic priorities are really efficient because the automatic priorities, so what I did is that I created an algorithm to identify the resources. And this algorithm, to make it quick, we have the waveform that is recorded with the bits. From the waveform, we get some first level information, which are frequencies, recurrences, and so on. From the frequencies, we get a second level information, which are resonance, common resonance, links, and entropy, which is agitation. And from that, we get a third level, which are the common resonances. And for that, we have got a fourth level, which are the resource score. And from this resource score, it takes everything into account. So the energy, the agitation, the qualities, which are attention, intention, and horizon, which you can find on the right of the flower. So it takes the flower petals, of course. How good it is related to other items, so the links. Everything is computed into this resource score. And the best one in each category is tagged as a resource. So the main resource, the main organ resource, for instance, the main acupuncture point resource, and so on. And the bottom ones are tagged as priorities. So the ones that are the less, the worst resources are the best priorities somehow. And at the beginning, I had a complicated algorithm to find priorities according to most energetic or less energetic or most agitated and so on. And at the end, I found that the best algorithm was to just reverse the resource algorithm and take the lowest resources. And this is what gives you today the list of priorities. And if you look at the list of priorities and if you dig deep into the causal chain, you will find a lot of similarities because this algorithm actually identifies very well what is needed to do today for you after this scan. So you can rely on the automatic priorities, and then you can explain with the causal chain and maybe find new connections or new causalities that could be interesting to add. And for that, you just click on the little plus, and it will be automatically added to your priorities.
Thank you. That was really a great example. I have one more question. So the difference between just playing them over speakers and putting headphones on, so are we using binaural beats that creating the frequencies, or are we getting straight frequencies,
Both.
although they show up? We're
Both.
getting both?
Yeah, we're getting both. So when you get, okay, let me explain that again.
So it makes sense to use the headphones over the speakers then, in case like someone who just had an MP3 single speaker isn't going to play stereo.
So when you have the white ones,
okay,
the white ones are related to physical or emotional systems or energetic systems into your body. So these are directly linked to priorities. Okay.
Okay.
If I play this one, it will play frequencies that will connect with realization. If I play this one, it will play frequencies that will make the lung meridian resonate. Okay, so these are not binaural beats. These are physical resonance frequencies.
Okay. Yeah.
When you play these physical resonance frequencies, you can add some blue or light blue items on top of it. Okay. The one with an ear are binaural beats. And this one come from Rife or bioresonance frequency tables.
So that's what those little icons on the left are?
Yes. So when you add protocols, you see a list of different frequencies with either acoustic frequencies, binaural beats.
Okay.
I'm not sure of what. No. Okay. I'm trying to show you binaural beats.
Oh yeah. So binaural. Okay.
So, okay, I will show you binaural beats then. Just to finish that, if I add a protocol on the lung, so let's say this one, it will play together. It means that it will play some frequencies of the lung to make the lung resonate and to create a bridge by this resonance effect. And it will also play the frequencies related to fatigue at the same time, meaning that these frequencies will be transported right to the lung because the lung is making it into their vibration because of its physiological frequencies.
Right.
To get back to your question, it's important to listen with headphones when you go into the personal guide because there are a lot of binaural beats with the meditations. I would say it's not as important to listen to harmonic boost with headphones, but Sarah, I think, just said that it's more efficient for her clients to listen to the headphones, to the harmonic boost with headphones. So this is an open question. I would say it's not as important as the personal guide, but I would also say maybe it's a time for you to get healed. And this time for you is something that you must take in a private space, you know, and for that headphones are better. So maybe it allows you to focus better on the frequencies and to get them directly. And also, the frequencies are spatialized. So if you get it with headphones, you get a better sense of envelopment probably and getting into a cocoon that if you just listen to them on speaker.
So I have one more question. I have a client who wants to come and get this done. Her husband has a pacemaker.
Yes.
And we know that pacemakers, it's not good to run frequencies on those people because of the possible imbalances it may cause with their machine. You know, so what is your comment on something like that? Someone who's got
Okay, so two answers. I wouldn't use electromagnetic frequencies applied to the body if someone has a pacemaker, because you never know what could happen. And even if there is a one chance on 10,000 that it creates a glitch in the pacemaker, if this chance arrive, this is very bad. So you don't want that. You don't want to create that, of course. As for acoustic frequencies, I don't really see how it could interfere with a physical device such a pacemaker.
So if they were playing it
so
over a speaker, though, versus putting it on headphones,
Speakers would be better.
speakers would be better. But if should the husband not be around, she should be listening on headphones, so she's not playing it over their speakers while he's there, because those frequencies could interfere with his pacemaker. Yes, no?
I don't think, honestly, I don't see how listening to frequencies on a headphone would interfere with a pacemaker.
Right.
I would always advise extreme caution when your life is tied to an electronic device that just keeps you alive every second. So I would say be very cautious, of course. But on a technical point of view, I don't see how listening to frequencies on a headphone could interfere with a pacemaker. So I would say, of course, don't apply electromagnetic frequencies, especially in the chest and so on. But acoustic frequencies, I don't think there could be interference.
Yeah, just to be
It's like music. Could music affect the... No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, just trying to be safe.
Yes. Another thing is that if you do something and something happens, you might be accused of the thing that happens, even if you are not related to the thing that happened. So when you do something on people that are very sensitive to some changes like that, and their life hangs on a pacemaker, and if any consequence can be blamed to you, of course, you have to be double careful.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
That's why I don't fix anybody's computer, because as soon as you touch it, you break something. Like, no,
I don't care breaking people's computers. No.
Yeah. Dan has his hand up two ways.
This is, if you could go back to the causal chain screen.
Yes.
On anything, just the causal chain. And I think that's great. I like it. I mean, it's very beneficial. But when you look, like, it's based on the levels, upper, middle, and lower. And yes, there's blue and green, and you can, select the best ones. But sometimes when you select the best ones, they are grouped so tight together.
It's true
that I cannot I can't find all of them. And I've even adjusted the DPI on my mouse, and I can't get granular enough to get in between, when you've got a little tetrahedra grouping, you can't get to the center ones.
It's true. Yes. It's something that I will have to fix that. Yes.
Thank you.
There is already a little algorithm to space them when they are grouped, but maybe I should go a bit further.
I also would like to ask for information balloons, because sometimes, even though I've been working with the program a lot, I don't always understand the little icon.
Yes, I've put that in my to-do list to maybe add something at the bottom of the interface
or even just a legend somewhere in the program where all the little icons.
Sure.
That would even be helpful too. But information balloons, it's like, oh yeah, that's the one.
What about a button that would just turn on the information balloons if you want it?
Yes, but I have to tag every icon, and I have to be sure that there is actually a legend on it.
Yeah, while you're learning, and then after you get the hang of knowing what all that is, you can turn it off, because it can be kind of distracting.
Yeah, it can be distracting. I agree.
But in the same spirit, we have to do a welcome tour of the app for people that launch the app for the first time. We have to explain the basic concepts and things like that. It would be interesting too. Kat, any other caution contraindications? Of course, pregnant women, because pregnant women is a systemic risk of so many things and so many different problems that could arise. And again, even if you are not the real cause of the problem, if you do an intervention on a pregnant woman and there is any kind of problem, and in the days after your intervention, you could be tied to it. So be very careful with that. But usually, as with every system, you say pacemakers and pregnant women are the case that you must be very careful with.
What about schizophrenia and some of the mental problems? I mean, you can adjust to that, but some of the people who are in the psych wards and stuff like that, we've had people come to our toning classes from psych wards. We can calm them down using their voice and listening to all of us as a group. So whether frequencies would be safe to be able to use for someone who's so brainwave out of balance.
I think it would be extremely beneficial. Yeah, I think it would be extremely beneficial. But speaking of risk, the risk is less important with this kind of problem than just having your pacemaker stopping.
Right.
So I was just focusing on the risk that if it's called ergodicity. If something goes wrong in a psychic ward, you get temper. If something goes wrong with a pacemaker, you get someone dead, which is not exactly the same. So ergodicity states that if you have 1% of a risk, but this risk is you die, it's much more important than if you have 50% of a risk, but the risk is you get a scratch.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a sheet of paper that I have everybody sign that I'm not giving you medical advice and all that, so that I can step beyond those kind of liabilities. They're agreeing that this is an experiment and all that. So that takes at least the stress away from me if they're choosing to do it. And I try to explain to them, hey, we're putting frequencies into your body based on, information that you're giving me.
It's always good.
And I ask them to write on there any kind of medications or anything that, that they're doing that I can see that could be a possibility. So I could check like someone who had a pacemaker, or if the woman's pregnant or something like that, that would show up on my intro sheet.
What about epilepsy? Because I have a friend, and I've known her a long time, and she stays away like from flashing red lights, or there are certain things that obviously medication.
It's a good question. I have absolutely no idea if someone with epilepsy is sensible to audio frequencies. It's a good question. Ask her. Ask her and tell us. Yes.
Well, okay, yeah.
Ask her and tell us if some frequencies could trigger something. That would be interesting to know.
So I have another question to ask you, Meterik, about you know about Dr. Hammer and German New Medicine?
Yeah.
So, I read his stuff back in 2005 when it first came into English and stuff. And I've taken courses. I have friends who are deeply into it. And the thing we found in our clinic before trying to use it is because trying to identify all those traumas and stuff, because there's tracks and triggers, allergies, and we go back in their life to see where those traumas are. And I'm seeing where the emotional things are coming up in the sensors. So we are addressing those kind of emotional issues and stuff. Where in there they identify the different brain wave states, because they're doing brain scans, obviously, CT scans to identify, which is ridiculous because you can't get to do that. So you have like the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and stuff like that. And so in the software, is there subtle identification of that in your protocols in the AI analyzing that?
Okay, so I work with my wife, Christina. and Christine has studied a lot of embryogenesis and of course Hammer and so on, and meaning of diseases and so on. So she just finished the first book of her trilogy in French, and we just finished the English version, which is currently under reread. You should absolutely read this book as soon as it's in English in the coming days or maybe weeks, because this is one of the foundations of how we built BioCoherence. And she particularly worked on the embryogenesis sheets related to Hammer and to other works, and to tie that with life missions and meaning of diseases and so on. So this is more or less baked into the app because everything, this is one of the source of everything that we developed with the logic of resources and so on. So yes, and this is part of some new screens that will be coming in the coming months.
Okay, I'd like to read that book as soon as it's out. So if you could
sure.
message me or whatever.
Could you say the name of that book again?
It's so right now it's just in French. It's Prology, Science of the Life Project.
Science of what?
I'm not sure of the English version. The Science of Life Project.
Oh, Science of Life Project. Thank you.
Yes.
I have started it and it's absolutely fantastic. So
what is the subtitle on your book?
I don't have it here. Hang on
Because I don't have a print for the English one.
1 second.
No, we have excellent feedback on the book, both from practitioners and from normal users, because it's extremely tied to systems theory, and systems theory could be very complicated, but she made it a very simple thing. So it's really interesting.
The Life Project.
What?
It's called, or in English, it is The Science of the Life Project.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I think we can, yes. Okay, fine.
I have Science of Life. Okay.
Go back.
I'll do a search.
No, it's actually
it's not yet available on Amazon, but it will be maybe
I've got
in
the
a few
first
weeks.
copy in English.
Yes, I think you have the first copy in English. I think she finished the English version this week.
Excellent.
And there will be 3 books. The second book is more focused on a new way to make some emotional interpretation of organs around life missions. And the third book will be more of a general public book for end users to embrace it.
So your Sing the Body Electric book, which I have marked up a lot, thank you. Are you going to add, are you going to release a newer version?
Yeah,
with,
yeah, it's already done. I just have to finish things, but I have updated the manual, which I sent this morning with the newsletter.
Yes.
So the manual has already like 40 new pages, and all these additions will also go to the book with some additions also in the general sections. So there will be a new version in the coming days or weeks. I don't know. Next week I'm skiing, so and it will be available in 6 languages.
What is the name of your book?
You don't have it? It should be with every sensor.
You
So this
given
one
the
is
book with
available.
sensors?
It should be packaged with every sensor, in fact, because
really?
it explains. It's not, but it should. I mean, it should be part of a package. When you sell a sensor, you should give a book with it or sell with it. But,
you did you did give us the PDF on Telegram there too.
Okay.
The file is Dr. Johnny. If you, I like physical books too, but that is available in the Telegram.
It's also available in ebook on Amazon.
So has Amazon got the hard copy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll order it on Amazon today.
Yeah, Jeff, they print that right in Illinois.
Maybe wait a few days for the new version.
Oh, will they have it in a few days though?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think the PDF is ready. I just have to update the cover because it's like 5 millimeters more. How do you say that?
Off center, like.
Yeah, épais. Okay, anyway. Thick.
So I've got some real basic questions if you don't mind, because I'm quite
Yes.
new to this. I've just getting into it. So excuse the kind of noviceness, but yeah, I'll get there. Like I'm a fast learner and I'm working with like clinics and practitioners and homeopaths and stuff like that, basically. So it's cool. We'll get there. But I got a couple of basic questions. One, how big is your team? Because it just sounds like you're doing. Yeah, how big is your team? I'm just real curious.
We are a very small team.
Is it more than 10 people? Is it under 10? Just I don't need to know exact numbers, but just like, is it
Yes,
100?
it's under 10. No. To be honest, I made the calculations on the software entirely myself.
That's what it sounded like. That's what I thought. So I was just
Christine, my wife, we worked. Well, it's probably 10 years in the making with various things. So her more on the practitioner side and research, and me more on the mathematical side and programmation. We have one graphic designer, Steven, of course, and a few people gravitating around. We have one people managing inventory and orders and so on. So no, it's a small team. But
fantastic. No, I like it.
I'm keeping it intentionally very close to me because this is a very personal project, and I absolutely don't want to butcher it with people doing complicated things around me, and I want to keep it as streamlined as possible, as to say.
Yeah,
So,
no, I appreciate that. It's just I'm someone that so I'm not gonna. So yeah, I have built a tool. It took me 4 years to build, and it's just from my imagination, similar to yourself. Not 10 years, but 4 years building a real technical tool that is pretty technical, but it's my project passion as well. So
yeah.
I understand what you mean in terms of building a small teams. I also have I build apps basically. I have a digital marketing company and stuff like that, like an app builder. All right, second question. Obviously, you don't have the brain scanner, so obviously there's nothing that scans the brain in terms of alpha waves and beta waves, or is that also part of the app, or do I need to buy like a Muse 2 if I want to get those signals as well and get those readings?
In principle, you could. There is, in fact, in mind, you have a screen with the brainwave frequencies, but it's more experimental because we are reading. The brainwave frequencies are in the spectrum of what we measure electrically on the device. So we can extract them from the device, but of course, it doesn't come from the brain; it comes from the whole body. But
yeah, I'm
not
basically
sure.
starting up a clinic, so I'm probably going to just based on that, I probably will just get a separate Muse device or something like that. There's obviously a few options on the market, so I'll probably have that as just a complementary device for my clients.
But a lot of the devices that measure brainwaves just measure activities in certain bandwidth. So you don't really have activities at the neuron level. You just have a global mass of where the frequencies are. And for that, I think we measure the same kind of things. So,
okay.
So the idea would be to say, okay, you are more close to a meditative state, or you are more close to an agitated state. This is more or less basic information that you can read into the global electrical activity of the body.
All right. So that was the question I had this morning. I thought of a crazy idea. So I was listening to someone that works with GDV device.
Yeah.
Was it a GDV? Or maybe it was a Dan Winter device. I can't remember, but someone basically wanted to use this device that was for the body, and they found a way like to put some metal wires on it to basically get a reading for the actual energy of an environment or a room or a space. So at the moment, and I don't know why I thought of that for your device, or obviously your device isn't really set up that for that, but I was thinking about a way to do a reading with maybe a group of people, for example. So I'm thinking of like a workshop where I've got 10 sensors, or I've got one sensor, but we're basically trying to come up with meditation music. I know it's a bit out there. I'm a bit of an out there guy, but I'm trying to come up with like a harmonic meditation that is like most resonant for the whole room. So we can do a prayer or some kind of affirmation, some kind of intentional setting thing in a workshop setting. So that's what I'm trying to wonder, because I think a workshop setting, if I could do a workshop setting, it's always easy.
So we spoke about that in former webinars, because that is one of the plans that will be coming later this year. Will be group measurements. So you could do a one-to-one measurement, or you can do a one-to-many measurements with the possibility to have several sensors plugged on the same app or on different apps linked through internet, and just tune everybody together through the app. So that is something that will be coming later. Yes. Mm.
That is so incredible. I mean, that is so exciting. So I'm basically work with like children. So I can see one of my niches. Like I said, I have access to people that I've got clinics, but I'm going to do my own thing. I'm literally setting up my own clinic with, buying devices like yours and some other devices as well with the budget I've got. But yeah, I can see a family plan. Like you've obviously got 6 people on the family plan, and a harmonic kind of like, I'm sure you've got ideas that will go way beyond what I'm thinking. But yeah, the fact that you're thinking about that thing, yeah, I'll definitely be implementing that the second that gets launched. That sounds incredible.
Would that be could somebody use like there are devices out there like the Muse? I use that with Flame in Mind or Flame in Sound, and then the BioWell has the spike. It's the spike antenna.
Yeah, I'm looking at the BioWell as well. So yeah, I was having this is what I was saying yesterday, because you was on the call yesterday as well. It's like I've got budget to probably get 2. I probably can get the Flame in Mind. I'm definitely getting you guys. That's 100%. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to get a BioWell or a Rife machine, a Spooky 2, like their top like generator stuff, their central generator. So I've only got enough budget for 2, not all 3 or 4 of them, to be honest.
Can I just say that we did decide that we were going to try to keep these to an hour, and it could go for another hour more. So I think we should probably stop recording just for the other poor souls who are going to be listening to this later,
Yeah.
But really amazing call. Thank you, Medric. Thank you, everybody. It's a fantastic call.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you so much.